everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and the iPhone 11 has been out for a few months alongside the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max, and I've been using it off and on and wanted to do a follow-up after a few months. And so we're going to talk about everything from the design to how it is to use regularly day-to-day and battery life. Battery life will be covered at the end, but if you want to jump to a specific section, I've linked all of the time codes in the description like I normally do. Now, the first thing is the actual build. This is a very solid phone, just like the iPhone XR before it. It has the exact same form factor, with the exception of an additional camera, a nice gloss back, but a matte finish around the camera. So everything else is basically the same as the XR, very solid aluminum construction with glass front and back. And if you haven't held one of these, this is the perfect size for most people. It's not as big as the 11 Pro Max, so for some people this phone is just way too big when it comes to the Max, and the iPhone 11 Pro might be a little bit too small for you. So the 11 itself is right in the middle and really should be the best size for a lot of people. And I think for most people, this is the phone to get. And I say that because of the cost and a few other factors. Now, as far as the display is concerned, well, it's the same display as last year. It's got that same close to 1080p display. I know a lot of people say it's closer to 720, but it's not. It's closer to 1080p, and the viewing angles are fantastic. It's the best LCD on the market right now. Despite what some people say as far as its pixel density, it's up there with everything else when it comes to LCDs, despite its resolution. So I've heard no complaints from people that own this. They're happy with it, and I think most people will be happy with it as well. Now, as far as durability, the iPhone 11 is actually holding up really well. Now, currently it does not have a screen protector on it, but it has had one on and off, and it has almost zero scratches, maybe a couple really light scratches, and I actually find that this display holds up a little bit better than that of the iPhone 11 Pro or Pro Max. My Pro Max has a ton of scratches on it, which is very uncharacteristic of the previous iPhones I've had. The 11 seems to be holding up a little better. Of course, that could all be avoided if you used a screen protector. Now, I have no wear whatsoever on the back, just a few fingerprints here, and that's because I've been using the Apple silicone case on the back. When I'm not using this device, it's always stored in a case, and even when I am, I've been using the case with it just to protect it, since these are very expensive phones. It doesn't necessarily protect the bottom, but that's holding up really well, and just in general, it seems to be a pretty durable phone, just like the iPhone XR. Now, as far as performance, it's the same to use as an 11 Pro Max, and the reason is it has the same processor that's inside. So when you're going through swiping, something really simple like that, or maybe you're going into more intensive applications, maybe you're editing a video on this, it's going to be the exact same experience that you have with the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max, or a XS Max or something like that. You're going to be faster than those older devices. So if you want to do something that's very intensive, maybe you're editing video, you're doing something such as iMovie, you're not going to have any slowdowns, editing photos or anything like that. So this is going to give you the fastest and best experience, just like you get with the 11 Pro and Pro Max. So no issues there. And it's really a nice thing to use day to day. It's very nice for me because of its size. I can easily reach across the display. I have no problem scrolling up and down. And if you're watching a video in, say, YouTube here, and you'll see it actually just reloaded what was new in YouTube, but it didn't reload the app. So RAM management has been improved. But if you're watching a video in, say, YouTube, you've got great stereo sound. So you've got the speaker on the bottom as well as the speaker on the top, and there's no issues with that whatsoever. It's a great phone for that. Now, one of the things that may be a downside for someone is there's no 3D touch, but that's kind of going away with the newer devices. So if I'm to haptic touch, I get the same experience. I just don't get the same pressure responsiveness. It's just a press and hold now as opposed to a pressure sensitive push. So it works fine. You've got most of the same exact things that you get with the Pro or the previous devices with 3D touch, but with this device, you've got haptic touch. And if that's something you don't care about, it should be fine for you. If you're coming from an older phone, such as an iPhone SE or even older than that, it'll just be an added bonus that you can press and hold on things. Now, one of the main reasons people update to the iPhone 11 is the camera. We've got dual cameras now, and these are the same cameras that you get on the 11 Pro and Pro Max, but you're not getting the telephoto lens. Instead, Apple decided to go with the wide and ultra-wide lenses, and I think that's the right move after using this for a while. So if we pinch out, you'll see there's my iMac Pro and my monitor over there, and if I zoom back in, you can zoom still, and it's a digital zoom, and it's pretty good. Most people can't tell the difference between this and a 2x zoom on, say, an iPhone 11 Pro. So I think that was the right move, and these cameras are fantastic. They're amazing video cameras. I've used this camera for video in some of my videos when I'm outside, and many of you wouldn't know the difference between this and a much more expensive studio camera or cinema camera. It just has a great image overall. So when you're doing video, this is one of the best reasons to get this device. You can go up to 4K 60, 4K 30, whatever you'd like here. 4K 60, you have those options, and it's just a great camera overall. And if I spin the camera around, the forward-facing camera on the 11 is better than that of the 10R or previous generations. It's the same 12 megapixel camera with 4K that you get on the 11 Pro. You just don't get 4K 60 out of the front. So you've got all of these huge benefits to this device. You can use this as a main vlogging device if you want. It's that good of a camera. That leads me to battery life. That's probably the most asked thing that I get because this has a smaller battery than the Pro and the Pro Max, but it still gets decent battery life. Most people that I asked, I put out a little question on Twitter to see what people had to say, and most people said 4 to 7 hours of battery life. Now that is a big spread of battery life, but my battery is going to vary compared to yours, so let's take a look. This was sent over by my friend Steve Mosier, and as you can see here, he had an hour and 58 minutes of screen on time, 8 hours and 16 minutes of screen off time, which is actually quite good with decent battery usage. So that's not bad. He also sent another one here where the usage wasn't as good. 3 hours and 19 minutes of screen on time, 1 hour and 36 minutes of screen off time, and probably a quarter of its battery left. So it depends on how you use the device a lot. In fact, you'll see here, he used Safari a lot, Slick Deals, YouTube, Google Photos, doing things in the background. So all of those things contribute to how your battery is. But most people, if you average that out, will get about 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, which is plenty for most people. Now, if you wanted more, you could get that battery case, or you can just fast charge it, but you will have to use an additional fast charger. And one thing I forgot to mention is my friend that sent these over, he said that he's at 97% battery health, and he's using a fast charger. He's using a MacBook 29-watt power adapter. So that will decrease battery health a little bit more quickly than if you were using the 5-watt adapter, but you get the advantages of charging it fast, and as long as you're at 80% after 2 years, you're fine. So in general, that's pretty good. Now, signal strength on my iPhone 11 has been pretty good. I find that switching from Wi-Fi to LTE and back really has no issues on this device, and I have pretty good speeds with my Wi-Fi. Technically, the Pro is faster, but most people are not going to notice those little extra bumps in speed. In general, this is a great device as far as cellular connectivity, reception, and everything overall. I would say in some cases it's better than the Pro, and I don't know if that's because this is made of aluminum versus the stainless steel, but in general, it's pretty good. So would I recommend the iPhone 11 to people? I would say if you're looking for a phone, you don't care about the latest and greatest, this is the phone to get. Forget about the 11 Pro and the Pro Max. Most people can't tell the difference between the displays, despite what people say. I've heard lots of feedback on that. Most people, if you don't care about displays, you don't care about any of that, this display is fine for you. If you really are into displays and you care about really dark blacks and vibrant colors, then go ahead and get the Pro. But for $300 less, you can have the 11 with all of the advantages minus the camera and the larger battery of the Pro minus the display as well. So if you don't care about those things, this is the way to go for most people. And this is what I recommend for most people. But I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Now, if you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, of course, I'll link it in the description as I always do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.